This is VOA News. Via remote, I'm Marissa Melton. Trucker-led protest against coronavirus vaccine mandates that began in the Canadian capital, Ottawa, and spread to the U.S.-Canadian border are leading to copycat protests in Europe and elsewhere in the world. Canadian police began early Saturday to clear the protesters who were blocking the Ambassador Bridge. It's a key connector between the two countries. Media reports said the standoff eased as police persuaded protesters to move their trucks. However, more protesters arrived, gathering a few blocks away and controlling the road to the bridge. As night neared, traffic had not resumed on the Ambassador Bridge. Windsor police said in a tweet that no one had been arrested. Truckers are demanding an end to Canada's coronavirus restrictions. They started their Freedom Convoy protests that eventually blocked the bridge between the Midwestern U.S. city of Detroit and Windsor, Ontario, in Canada. Protest also blocked other key passageways between the two countries. The closure disrupted the North American auto industry. Police said they began to enforce the order after a judge granted an injunction to end the blockade on Friday, after the Canadian province of Ontario declared an emergency. The protests have sparked Freedom Convoy demonstrations in France, Australia, and New Zealand. In Paris on Saturday, the Freedom Convoy protesters and vehicles held up traffic around the Arc de Triomphe in defiance of an order not to enter the city to demonstrate. Police said they stopped 500 vehicles and issued 300 tickets. Police used tear gas to break up a small crowd of protesters on the Champs-Élysées. There were also protests in the New Zealand capital of Wellington and Canberra in Australia. VOA News. Yemeni officials say suspected al-Qaeda militants abducted 5 United Nations workers in the southern province of Abyan. The workers, including 4 Yemenis and a foreigner, were abducted on Friday. UN spokesman Stefan Dujarric said his organization is aware of the abduction. Abductions are frequent in Yemen. It's an impoverished nation where armed tribesmen and al-Qaeda-linked militants take hostages to swap for prisoners or cash. Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula has long been considered the global network's most dangerous branch and has attempted to carry out attacks on the U.S. mainland. Australia temporarily suspended operations at its embassy in Kiev, Ukraine, and evacuated staff following the deteriorating security situation caused by the buildup of Russian troops on Ukraine's border. This, according to the Australian Foreign Ministry on Sunday. In a statement, the ministry said, "We will be moving our operations to a temporary office in Lviv. We continue to advise Australians to leave Ukraine immediately by commercial means." Lviv is a city in western Ukraine, around 70 kilometers from the border with Poland. The White House says U.S. President Joe Biden warned Russian President Vladimir Putin of what it called swift and severe consequences if Russia invades Ukraine. The two men spoke by television on Saturday for a full hour. Tensions continue to grow amid concerns that Russia is ready to mount an invasion of Ukraine. Washington has received intelligence reports that the invasion could happen as early as Wednesday. There was no immediate comment from Russia about the discussion. Russia has amassed more than 100,000 troops at the Ukrainian border. The White House said President Biden was clear that if Russia undertakes a further invasion of Ukraine, quote, "The United States, together with our allies and partners, will respond decisively and impose swift and severe costs on Russia." The U.S. Embassy in Kiev has begun evacuating its staff. A U.S. State Department official told reporters starting Sunday, Americans will no longer have access to consular services in Ukraine. And Syrian opposition activists say 6 people from the same family, including 2 children, have been killed in a Syrian military artillery strike on a rebel-held village in the country's northwest. Residents said the family was outside their house enjoying sunny weather and drinking tea when the shells struck. Low-flying reconnaissance aircraft circled the area after the strike. Via remote, I'm Marissa Melton. You're listening to VOA News.